and Happy New Year. Hope you had some really good holidays. And this is my first video of the year, so let's go ahead and jump right in. It's that time again when I dive into my comprehensive grinding outlook for tech trees. This year, I'm switching things up by splitting the discussion into two separate videos, one for aviation and one for ground forces. So in this video, I'll be focusing exclusively on aviation. As far as the amount of work put into the trees, 2024 has been nothing short of remarkable for aviation enthusiasts. Gaijin has introduced significant improvements to tech trees, along with some truly outstanding aircraft. The meta shifted dramatically in 2024 with the introduction of new mechanics like active radar homing missiles and better infrared countermeasures, and it really reshaped the balance of power when we're talking about tech trees in the game. So as always, time is money, and I know you're here to maximize efficiency and get the best value out of your grinding efforts, or maybe you're just curious, but let me set some expectations here. This guide is maybe for the newer player in the game, so if you're a veteran, maybe this won't help you as much. And also this guide is for players who want to be informed on getting to top tier. I know not every person wants to get to top tier, but at least for me, I like the more modern aircraft. So getting to top tier in each tree is really what I would make this for and why I'm doing it. So my approach is straightforward. Really what I'm going to do is rate each tree based off of 5 key criteria, and that's competitiveness, ease of progression, diversity in playstyle, and the rage quit factor and its future outlook. So let's break it all down and see what aviation trees are worth your time this year. Alright, so all these trees are in order of preference, basically my preference, but the first one we'll talk about is why grind the USA aviation tree. So the US tree is one of the most versatile and beginner-friendly trees in War Thunder. It offers iconic aircraft across every era, from the legendary P-51 Mustang and the B-29 in World War II, to Cold War A-10 Thunderbolt and F-4 Phantoms, and finally to modern marvels like the F-15E Strike Eagle and the F-117 Nighthawk. This tree has something for every player. It's a massive lineup. It provides unmatched variety, making it an excellent choice for both air superiority and ground attack enthusiasts. So looking at the competitiveness of the US tree, it is highly competitive, especially at the top tiers, thanks to exceptional missile technology like the AMRAAM and the Phoenix. Paired with advanced avionics and radar systems, you can find some of the best radars in the game in the US tree. The AUG-9, the APG-66, the APG-65, APG-70. While early Cold War fighters like the F-86 and the F-100 can be outmaneuvered by skilled opponents flying like MiG-17s and MiG-19s, the overwhelming strength of modern jets in the US tree though, like the F-14, the F-15, 16 and A-10, they just ensure dominance in both air combat and close air support roles. US fighters are forgiving and accessible in my opinion, making the tree ideal for new players while rewarding veteran players as well. Progression is straightforward with this tree, with plenty of premium aircraft at every rank to aid the grind. The tree is logically laid out. It integrates US Air Force, US Navy, and Marine Corps aircraft, and it keeps progression intuitive and smooth. There are some challenges that exist in the tree, particularly, if you're flying an aircraft like the F-4C, that kind of like area, that BR bracket where you're flying that jet against opponents with IR missiles that are really good. It's not like it's unplayable, but aircraft like that, just an example, kind of hard. But the sheer number of high-performing aircraft in the US tree is what makes it one of the easiest grinds. If you get tired of something, you can switch to a different line, a different aircraft, and you just get a lot of play. You get a lot of content out of it. For the diversity and future outlook of the tree, the US aviation tree excels in diversity. Like I was just saying, you have an overwhelming amount of choice. There's legendary aircraft. People love the A-10. You get like 3 versions of the A-10. There's unique prototypes, many playstyles from dogfighting to intercepting, to close air support, all that with aircraft like the A-10C and the F-15E. This tree gets consistent updates. It's one of the most popular trees, that's why. There are lots of squadron and event vehicles get added to ensure it remains fresh and competitive. So this tree promises a long-term value for any grinders. So just to summarize here, The competitiveness is high, the ease of progression is high, diversity in playstyle is high. The rage quit index is very low. I mean, there are very few places in the tree where I just wanted to like throw my mouse and keyboard and walk away. And the future outlook of the tree is excellent. There are so many more aircraft to be added. So grind this tree if you want versatility, frequent updates, strong close air support options when you're playing ground battles, and some of the best air-to-air fighters in the game. Avoid this tree if you just want something smaller. You prefer smaller and more focused tech trees. Alright, so number 2 here is the Russian Aviation tree. So why grind the Russian tree? So this tree is a powerhouse. It offers one of the largest selections in War Thunder. It's an extremely popular tree like the US tree. You get iconic aircraft from World War II like the IL-2 Sturmovik, all the way to Cold War and modern jets like the MiG-29 and Su-27. This tree really does have something for everyone. To me, the grind is engaging and rewarding with very durable ground attack planes. You get some nimble dogfighters and overall cutting-edge multi-role jets. However, this tree can be challenging to play at times, especially in the mid-tiers where you have weak missiles and low gun ammo that may frustrate some players. At the top tier, jets like the Su-34, the Su-27 SM shine with excellent speed, maneuverability, maybe not the Su-34 so much, but with very powerful missiles like the high off-bore sight R-73, which is excellent, the R-27ER and ET, and the R-77, really good missiles here. These aircraft excel in both air superiority and precision strike roles, though some Western competitors still hold an edge in avionics, standoff weaponry, better targeting pods, stuff like that. Competitiveness, the Russian aircraft are highly competitive across all tiers, with a focus on hard-hitting firepower and agility. Jets like the Yak-3 in World War II, pretty good in dogfights. There's some Cold War icons like the MiG-15 and MiG-17 that I was talking about earlier that reward players. They are a little harder to fly. You got to be able to master energy management. To me, I really didn't have a great time with the MiG-15 and 17. It took me a lot to learn, but once I learned them, I really did like them. At high tiers, jets like the Su-27 SM and the MiG-29 SMT, some of my favorite jets, by the way, bring really good speed and advanced missile systems. Despite their strengths, some mid-tier jets, like I said, the MiG-15, 17s, and 19s, those poor missiles like the R3R and R3S and the limited gun ammo, you really got to have good trigger discipline and skilled flying, some flying skill to master these jets and get the most out of them. Nevertheless, the overall competitiveness of the tree is high, particularly for players who enjoy really aggressive playstyles. As far as ease of progression, the Russian tree is logically structured with reasonable research cost, and many aircraft are foldered to ease the grind. You have good premium options like the Su-7 BMK, the Su-25K, the MiG-23ML, which make researching easier, especially through the challenging mid-tiers. Around the mid-tier, you may find yourself struggling with the early MiG series, the 15s, 17s, and 19s, kind of due to their steep learning curve, at least in my opinion. So ease of progression is moderate to high. It's kind of situational depending where you are. But I'll say this, if you can learn how to fly the MiG-15 and MiG-17 and MiG-19, and even the MiG-21, if you learn how to fly those jets well, I don't think you're going to have any problems with almost any tree in the game. So when we talk about diversity and the future outlook of this tree, I don't think you're going to get bored with the Russian tree at all. There's a mix of durable close air support platforms like, the Su-24, the 34. There's like a ton of Su-25s. You got really good dogfighters like the MiG-29 and Su-27. Russia just offers lots of variety for all playstyles, and it's pretty fun. The tree frequently receives updates with modern aircraft. Future additions I know are coming like the Su-30 series and the Su-35 variants are expected to keep this tree very fresh and very competitive. And I think if Gaijin ever decides to get serious about modern bombers, you can expect this tree to explode with options, kind of like the US tree as well. Alright, so in summary here, the competitiveness of this tree is high, the ease of progression is moderate to high, kind of situational there. Diversity is high, the rage quit index is moderate. And I say that because, there's some areas like I talked about, the MiG-15s, 17s, and 19s, where you may have some problems, and you have to learn them. Future outlook of this tree is excellent though. So grind this tree if you enjoy aggressive, powerful aircraft, frequent updates, and you're ready, for something a little bit different, to fly. Avoid this tree if you prefer easier to master aircraft, forgiving aircraft like those in the US tree. Alright, so number 3 is China. So why would you want to grind this tree? This aviation tree is a unique blend of imported designs and indigenous innovation, providing an exciting journey through the evolution of Chinese air power. Early tiers feature Japanese and American planes like the P-40, the Ki-43, while the mid-tiers kind of switch it up and it adopts Soviet fighters like the MiG-15, the J-2 in Chinese service, and the MiG-17, the J-4. At higher tiers, China shines with advanced indigenous jets like the J-10A, the J-8F, and the J-H-7A, offering speed, maneuverability, and powerful missiles like the PL-5B, the PL-8, and the PL-12. So no doubt this tree is competitive now. It hadn't always been that way, but Gaijin has been doing some work. But nevertheless, some of the aircraft feel redundant due to their borrowed origins. So, kind of that copy paste feel just because these are licensed built aircraft. This can make the mid-tier progression especially feel tedious, particularly when you get to planes like the Q5, which is required in multiple versions to reach better jets like the J-7. I mean, you might not want to play the Q5 that many times. However, the compact structure of this tree ensures progression is pretty manageable and fast. The premium aircraft options like the A5C help to accelerate the grind. The A5C is a really good premium jet, by the way. I used it to grind most of the tree. Competitiveness, to get back to that, the aircraft do excel in certain areas. Really good firepower. There's some versatile weapons sourced from various nations, so a lot of the missiles are licensed built versions. Top tier planes like the J-10A, the J-11, and the J-H-7A, like I was talking about before, you got some really good kit on them, pretty good good flight performance, strong multi-role capabilities. And also, to bolster these jets, you do have the Taiwanese Air Force in this tree as well. So you get the F-16, you get the Mirage 2000. So like I said, the competitiveness is pretty good now. Ease of progression and future outlook. So like I said, the Chinese tree is compact with fewer aircraft to research compared to larger nations, and there's some mid-tier redundancy, and you do get good premium options like the A5C and the J7D. So the future is bright for this tree right now. I think because it's compact, you might want to get in now because the tree has lots more additions to come, like more advanced versions of the J10, the J20, the J35. I mean, there's so many aircraft, the flanker derivatives like the J16. So I think this tree is going to be a big growth area for 2025 and beyond. So you might want to get in now while it's not so big, so you're kind of like ready to go whenever something new pops in. Okay, so in summary, the competitiveness of this tree is moderate to high. Ease of progression is moderate. Diversity is moderate. The rage quit index is low to moderate. It's just situational depending on where you are in the tree. And the future outlook is excellent. Grind this tree if you enjoy a mix of Eastern and Western aircraft, cutting-edge indigenous designs, and frequent updates. Avoid this tree if you really don't like a whole lot of copy paste, if that's going to be a deal breaker to you, or if you just prefer a larger tree with more variety. Alright, so next is why should you grind the French tree? I really do love this tree. It's one of my favorites. This tree offers a blend of sleek and innovative designs and high performance jets that stand out in pretty much every era. The tree is a little smaller compared to others, even with the addition of the Dutch and Belgian aircraft, but it delivers a unique experience with versatile fighters like the Mirage series and the cutting-edge Rafale F3. So the lineup is interesting. I love the designs like the Intendard, the Mirage F1, the Mirage 4000, all showcasing very strong, multi-role capabilities. However, Challenges include low missile count on the Mirage 3 series of aircraft, a lack of countermeasures on the Mirage C in particular, the Mirage 3C, the Mirage 5F, and the F8 all at 10.0. Not entirely unplayable with this BR, it can feel punishing. Despite the bottlenecks though, top tier aircraft like the Rafale, the Mirage 2000-5F, they offer incredible agility, advanced avionics, very versatile weaponry, and it's very worthwhile to grind this tree out. So on competitiveness, so the French tree excels in speed and maneuverability for most of the aircraft, particularly the Mirage series and now the Rafale. The Mika EM, the Matra Super 530, Magic 2 missiles, they offer solid air-to-air options, but like I said, the Magic 3 series may be a little bit disappointing when it comes to your ability to take the fight to the enemy because of how few missiles that you have. But air-to-air and ground attack capabilities really improve as you get towards the top of the tree. The Mirage 2000 series is very good. You have the Rafale now. As far as ground attack, I mean the Mirage 2000D and now the RMV version of that, the Mirage 2000-5F and the Rafale all have solid ground capabilities, air-to-ground capabilities. You got the Hammer air-to-surface missile, which offers excellent standoff and precision guidance. So ease of progression and the future outlook for this tree. The progression is pretty straightforward with the notable pain points that I mentioned, specifically for aircraft like the Mirage 3C and around the mid-tiers. Jets just without countermeasures in general are going to be harder to play. Premium options, you do have the Milan, which is okay. You have the Mirage F1C200, which is a lot better to help get through the grind. There have been buffs to the Magic 2 and the F1C itself. So, you're in a pretty good position if you're going to select that combo. And if you get that jet on sale, it's a pretty good deal. But anyway, like I said before, the addition of Dutch and Belgian aircraft, they add some good variety to the tree, some good capability to the tree, and future updates could expand on more Rafale variants. So in summary, the competitiveness of this tree is moderate to high, just situational depending on where you are. Ease of progression is moderate, diversity is moderate, and the rage quit index I'm going to put is moderate because some of the aircraft where you don't have countermeasures are going to be harder to play. Future outlook is just good though, and that's really because we're reaching kind of the limits of what we could add to the French tree. I don't know what else Gaijin has in store for like sub-nations, but grind this tree if you love Delta Wing jets, innovative designs, and competitive top-tier aircraft. Avoid this tree if you prefer much larger, more forgiving tech trees, or you just dislike limited missile loads and lots of aircraft that you have to play without countermeasures in mid-tier. All right, next up is Italy, one of my favorites. Once overlooked, this tree has become a very rewarding choice to play. Thanks to recent updates and the addition of the Hungarian line, it offers a mix of agile fighters, NATO standard jets, and former Soviet aircraft. You really do get some modern multi-role aircraft, making it very exciting to grind for players who enjoy, maneuverable aircraft and lots of versatility. Of course, you have the World War II planes like the G-55 and G-56, but the real fun, in my opinion, starts when you get to the Cold War jets. If you like starfighters, the Italian tree has some of the best starfighters in the game, uniquely adapted for Italian requirements. You have starfighters like the F-104S, for example, and then you have the Gina or the G91. I really learned how to dogfight with the G91. It's an excellent jet. I use the premium version to grind most of the Italian tech tree, but just a really exciting and fun little jet that you can get to learn to play the game with. But overall, the tree is highly competitive now, and like I said, fun to play. It culminates in the Powerhouse, which is the EF-2000 Eurofighter, and there's also the Hungarian JAS-39 Gripen. So the competitiveness of the tree, I would say, is about moderate to high. So the mid-tier gameplay to me is where Italy really starts to excel, but there are some nuances here. Gone are the days when the G91YS was like a top jet. It's just been kind of power crept, and it's not as good as it used to be. You also have aircraft like the Sagittario and the Ariete, these jets have UFO-like performance, but again, they've been nerfed because, through BRs. They don't have countermeasures, they don't have missiles, they really have good guns, the Ariete and the Sagittario. But they just faced a lot of aircraft that just have more firepower and can kind of overtake them. So some nice parts of the Italian tech tree are kind of overshadowed because there's some power creep in there, and there's also like some legacy BR stuff that Gaijin really ought to change. But if you can get past that, I mean, like I said, this tree has some of the best starfighters in the game. I really love the tech tree because it's just very fun to play. I love the boom and zoom type of playstyle. I like interceptor playstyle. Dogfighting can be fun, but I do like the boom and zoom, and there's a lot of jets that lend to that type of gameplay. Alright, so for ease of progression and future outlook, premium aircraft like the G91R4, the AMX A1A, and the F104S Turkish Air Force version, they make the grind pretty manageable through the tree. Those are okay aircraft, especially if you can pick them up on sale. The tree is logically structured, and it's kind of a smooth transition. I mean, it can be a little bumpy in a big transition when you say you go from an F-86K to an F-104G, but I think it's fine. Hopefully this tree gets more Romanian aircraft in the future, like the MiG-21 Lancer. I mean, we're kind of getting to the ceiling on what the tree can have, especially if Gaijin doesn't add additional sub-trees. So in summary here, the competitiveness of the tree is moderate to high, ease of progression moderate to high, diversity is just moderate. I mean, it is what it is. The rage quit index, I'll say low to medium. Future outlook though, I would say is just fair right now. Grind this tree if you enjoy highly maneuverable fighters, a blend of NATO and Soviet era designs, and you want access to advanced multi-role fighters like the Eurofighter, the JAS-39 Gripen, and of course I can't forget the Italian Tornado's really robust cast platform and worth grinding out. Alright, so next up is the UK tree, and this tree offers versatility and historical significance, making it one of the most well-rounded trees in War Thunder, from World War II icons like the Spitfire and the Lancaster bomber, to Cold War jets like the Lightning and the Hunter, and modern marvels of course like the Typhoon FGR-4. The UK tree, I really do think, has something for every player. One of my favorite planes in this tree is the Premium Wyvern. It's just an amazing little plane. If you can catch it on sale, it's a definite buy, and especially due to its unique engine, it's just very fast for its tier. So now for the competitiveness of this tree. So I mean, it's situational and it depends. It hasn't always really been highly competitive depending on where you were playing in the tree, but there are some real gems in the UK tree. The Spitfires, the Vampires, the Venoms, for example, really fun planes to play, and they have their own competitive advantage. You have aircraft like the Harriers, which are very fun to play. They offer a variety of play styles. You have lots of indigenous weapons like the short-range air-to-air missile. You got the Fire Streak, the Red Tops, the Sky Flashes. Offers a very not overly unique except for the SRAMs, but it's just fun to play some unique weapons, I think, in the game like that. The SRAM has been nerfed. It's been incredibly nerfed, but it's still fun to play, especially if you can kind of master its specific use case. You really got to get close, but I love using the SRAM for like those high off-bore sight shots where the enemy isn't really expecting that. There were some planes in the tree, like maybe like the Javelin that I used to hate, but the Javelin, it's kind of like it grows on you after a while. It's just a unique plane. You should try it out if you're grinding through the tree. It's not for everybody. But once you master its unique playstyle, those huge wings, it can be kind of fun. So looking at the top end of the tree, Gaijin's really made some strides here. I mean, now we have the Typhoon, we have the Tornadoes. I think those aircraft are really competitive. Let me caveat that, the GR4 Tornado and the one previous to that, the Strike close air support Tornadoes, pretty good planes. The Tornado F3, or the air-to-air version, the interceptor versions, not bad planes, but don't expect dogfighters out of that. I think there was maybe a disconnect in what players expected out of those planes. They're not dogfighters, you know, they are interceptors, but still a unique playstyle within the British check tree for sure at the top end. But if a straight interceptor is not your thing, you do have the option to play the South African Air Force JAS 39C Gripen, which I think was a really good add to the tree. So looking at ease of progression and future outlook, so premium options like the Harrier GR1, you know, if it's still for sale, you know, that was a pretty good plane. I did grind out a lot of the tree with that, especially before they nerfed it and raised the BR. You know, there's planes like the Sea Vixen, but there's also the new Indian Air Force MiG-21 Bison, which also helps simplify the grind. Really good jet. I've been able to get some really good use out of it. Overall progression in this tree is enjoyable with logical steps between tiers. And the aircraft, like I said, they're genuinely fun to play. I really did enjoy the British tree. This is a tree I think where you want to take your time and enjoy the planes, and maybe you don't want to just rush up the top tier. Like I said, probably one of the challenges in the tree that I did enjoy afterwards, after an adjustment period, was the Javelin. Give it a try. It's got some history, I'll say that, and you can check that out on the forums. But there's so much content in this tree that you may want to save this tree as one of the last ones you grind out. I grinded this tree out a little earlier in my War Thunder career, but there's just so much goodness here, you might want to save it as one of the last. The future is looking good, I think, for this tree, especially with the addition of Indian Air Force planes and the South African Air Force JAS 39 Gripen. I think Gaijin has kind of at least taken it to heart, the player feedback on the tree. It hadn't always been exciting towards the top end, but I think that's changing. Alright, so to summarize here, the competitiveness of this tree is moderate to high. Ease of progression is high. Diversity is pretty high. There are a lot of different aircraft and different playstyles. Like I said, there's a lot of content in the tree. The rage quit index, I think, is low. To me, you know, I just enjoyed myself when I was playing, you know, kind of like, you know, just real casual play. And maybe even, you know, get yourself a cup of Yorkshire Gold and you knock out the tree a little bit at a time. Future outlook of the tree is good though. Gaijin's been listening to player feedback and they've been adding some genuinely exciting aircraft to play. So grind this tree if you like a mix of air superiority and ground strike roles with iconic aircraft, and you like top tier fighters like the Typhoon and the JAS 39 Gripen. So down here at number 7 is Japan. So let's talk about the Japanese tree. This tree is a journey, I think, through some really iconic aircraft, you know, like the Zero. You get all the way up to modern jets like the license-built Mitsubishi F-15J. There's also the JAS 39 Gripen now from the Thai tree. So the tree does offer a somewhat rewarding grind, and I say that you know, with a big asterisk for players, especially if you enjoy nimble, high-energy aircraft like in the beginning of the tree, the World War II jets. So having said that, let's talk about the competitiveness of the tree. So situationally, I really think it's low to moderate. You know, with the exception of the World War II fighters like the Zero, you know, which excel in dogfights, you know, they're really some fun planes to play. But as you journey through and you get to top tier and you have the F-15, you have the JAS 39, which are pretty good. You know, they have indigenous missiles, the F-15, I mean, like the AAM-4 and the AAM-3, which are really good in the game. But the tree, there's a lot of copy paste here, a lot of mid-tier redundancy, and I think that can detract from the overall player experience. Overall, this tree isn't where I want it to be. Even with the latest additions, you know, with the tie line being added, it's a good start, but top tier competitiveness needs way more work. And it was always going to be hard for, you know, to make the tree competitive as you get to top tier, because, you know, Japan as a nation really doesn't have the diversity and the variety of aircraft to add. So that was always a thing that, you know, that was going to be. It's just a fact. So ease of progression and future outlook. So the tree is compact and well organized. It has that going for it. If you want to get to an F-15 really fast, the Japanese tree is one of those trees where you can do that. The problem is getting adequate premium options to do that with. So you got the Thai AV-8S now, and you have the the venerable F4EJ, the ADTW version, which is not really awesome to try to grind this tree with. And like I said, you have a lot of mid-tier jets that are redundant, so the grind is tedious, even though you could do it fast if you're able to just zombie your way through this. There are just too many gaps in capability across the tree for me. The future of this tree is in question, in my opinion, if Gaijin does not add more sub-trees. So like I said, a good start with adding Thailand, but I think they need to really, maybe give it the Italian treatment. The Italian tree is one of the better trees now, and it hadn't always been that way. So in summary, the competitiveness of this tree it's situational. In low tier, it's pretty good, but overall, I would say the competitiveness is low to moderate. Ease of progression is kind of high if you take into context it's a small and compact tree. I mean, you can get through it, but if you just don't have the heart to play through all these copy paste planes, and you don't have the best premium aircraft to do it, the progression, ease of it can be pretty low. Diversity is also low. I think the rage quit index is high for all the reasons I just stated. The future outlook is bad to fair. So grind this tree if you enjoy historical World War II aircraft, you like unique designs, and you want access to the Thai subtree. I would say avoid this tree until we get a better roadmap from Gaijin on what they plan to do with it. And you can really just save it for one of the last ones. It isn't something that I would put as my number 1 or number 2 or even number 3, unless you really like the Japanese World War II aircraft. All right, so next up is Germany. So why grind the German tree? I know the memes, Germany suffers, all that stuff, but this tree does offer some very iconic aircraft, very historically significant aircraft, ranging from some of the World War II legends like the Bf-109, the Focke-Wulf 190, and then we get all the way up to the Eurofighter here. And that brings me to this point. As Gaijin has shifted its focus to top tier aircraft, this is where the German tree has historically run into issues that has hindered its competitiveness. It just has a lot of gaps in its top tier competitiveness. I know the recent addition of a Eurofighter kind of brings Germany back into the spotlight because it gives it something really competitive at top tier, but it's really limiting in what you have to play at top tier. You don't have a whole lot of choices. I mean, the only other aircraft you had that were competitive somewhat at top tier with MiG-29G and the F4F KWS, and we all know about the F4F KWS, the only other active radar missile slinger, not the most competitive top tier aircraft. So when we look at ease of progression and future outlook for the tree, you got premium options like the MiG-29 SPSK, the G91R4, which, I love that plane. It did help me grind out the tree. Those will help you grind out the tree. But gaps between BRs, limited diversity in ground attack aircraft, it can just slow the progress in this tree. Gaijin, hopefully, they add more Swiss aircraft like the F-18 everybody's talking about to give more top tier competitiveness. But I feel like this tree may be kind of hitting its ceiling. And, let's be honest, jets like the F-35 are way off. So in summary, the competitiveness for this tree, I'm going to say moderate, ease of progression, moderate, diversity is moderate, low to moderate, rage quit index, moderate, and I'll say the future outlook is bad to fair. Grind this tree if you appreciate World War II icons like the ME-262, the Horten 229 Flying Wing, and you like modern jets like the Eurofighter. Be prepared though for challenges in mid-tier progression, and be prepared for the limited close air support options. All right, Sweden's going to be at number 9 here. So why would you want to grind this tree out? So it's a compact tree, offers some very unique designs, especially early on, very innovative designs. It has excellent modern jets like the JAS 39 Gripen. So you have really unique early designs like the J-21, all the way to the Cold War legends like the Draken and the Viggen. This tree focuses on, agility, versatility. I really did enjoy a lot of the aircraft. I know the J-29F was one of my favorites. The J-32B were really good. And these, this is kind of like back in the day. But now those aircraft, they may be in a position where they're nearly close to unplayable with so many good infrared guided missiles in that BR bracket, and you don't have countermeasures. So it may be a little bit harder to play now. But is the tree competitive? I say yes. The Gripens and the Viggens, they excel in air-to-air combat. A lot of players are really hyped about the Gripen and the Viggen. And that, especially with the Gripen, this is the home of the Gripen. You can find it in many other trees, but if you want to go back to the source, you really ought to grind the Swedish tree to get, the Gripen experience. But anyway, you really have some good, good systems, good weapon systems here, good radars. Mid-tier options are limited because this is a small tree, and you're gonna have to, overcome the shortcomings if you're using the the cast support, especially for your ground part of the Swedish tree. So ease of progression and future outlook. So the tree is small. It's a manageable tree to grind. It's pretty straightforward, especially with some of the premium options that have come out, like the J35 XS, and there's also a new J37 premium version that's available to grind. There are some problematic planes in the tree though, like the J35D without countermeasures. It was, to say, to just keep it real, it was extremely challenging to play that jet with no countermeasures at all. The addition of the finish line, it does add more aircraft to the line that are pretty fun to play. I'm looking forward to seeing the F-18 come to this line, but the tree overall, it may just be reaching its ceiling on what can be added. And like I said, for the German tech tree, the F-35 is a long way off. So in summary, the competitiveness of this tree is moderate. Ease of progression is high. It's pretty easy to get through. It's very compact, like I said. The diversity is low. You don't have a whole variety of aircraft because it's a small tree. The rage quit index is low. I mean, there's no areas in here where I was just like, no, this is killing me. It's pretty benign. Future outlook is just fair. Grind this tree if you enjoy Scandinavian engineering, like you're looking forward to Swedish stuff. You like versatile jets. You want a quick grind. You don't mind a few competitive top tier aircraft because you really just have the Gripen. Don't grind this tree though if you want more than just the Gripen at top tier, because you can get the Gripen in a couple other trees now. All right, so number 10 here is the Israeli tree. So, one of the newest full trees in the game. The Israeli aviation tree it's really compact and tightly focused, like the Swedish tree, featuring some exceptional post-World War II aircraft, like the F-15 Baz and the F-16. This tree is perfect for players who enjoy multi-role aircraft, air superiority gameplay with some advanced weapons and targeting systems. Especially if you're talking CAS. So the competitiveness at top tier is really good. I mean, the modern jets here, they dominate at these BRs. If not for their copy paste, status here. There's some really good weapons like the Python and the Derby missile, with the promise of better weapons later on in this tree as Gaijin adds more, because there are some very unique indigenous weapons for the Israeli tree that I think a lot of players are looking forward to that we just don't have yet. And that contributes to the fact that this tree isn't as fun to grind through as most players wanted it to be. As a content partner, I can pretty much ask for most aircraft and Gaijin will give it to me. I didn't for this tree. I wanted to kind of just grind through organically. And I just say I did not enjoy grinding through this tree. I don't like a lot of the aircraft. So ease of progression due to its size makes it kind of flow fast, but the aircraft, some of the mid-tier aircraft just aren't fun to play. I've seen them before in other tech trees, and it made it one of the worst grinding experiences, especially through rank 6. To me, almost all of those aircraft are uncompetitive. I did not like them. Your mileage may vary though. So ease of progression and future outlook. Like I said, the compact size of the tree makes it attractive if you just want to get the high tier pretty fast. So you've got that. There the premium options to get through the tree. I wouldn't really mess with the A4E Skyhawk. I'm just not a Skyhawk fan. Sorry guys. The plane just does not work for me. The Kafir Canard, pretty good though. Like I said, rank 6 jets, some of the worst, all uncompetitive for me. The future of the tree is fairly bright though, and let me give the context when I say that. A lot of the jets are going to be the same. F-16s, F-15s, upgraded versions of those. but the weapons are what I'm looking for, primarily the Python 4 and beyond. So in summary, I say the competitiveness of the tree is just moderate. At high tier, you're going to have really good jets, of course, but overall, this tree is just not really there for me. Ease of progression, moderate to high. I mean, it's a small tree to get through. A lot of the planes are copy paste, so if you don't have the heart for it, that's the part where it's gonna maybe take a little longer for you. Diversity is low. I mean, the aircraft at top tier are multi-role, so you can have different play styles with them, but you just really don't have many aircraft to choose from if you get bored with a plane. So the rage quit index, I'm gonna leave at moderate. It just depends on your personality as you get through this. With a limited amount of aircraft, you might, you just had enough and you have to get up and walk away. In the future outlook, fair, maybe all the way up to good, depending on what kind of weapons we get. So grind this tree if you want some of the best modern jets. I mean, the F-15I is there. You got the top F-16 and another top F-15 for air-to-air. So, you got some good aircraft here. It's a focus tree, very small, and it's ideal for players who prioritize quality over quantity. All right, so that'll do it for this entire review here. So primarily I made this, like I was saying in the beginning, for the newer player, kind of to gauge where you should focus your time in 2025. And this is, if I didn't say it before, this is my opinion. This is what I think of the tree. Certainly, you don't have to agree, but what I do invite is some good debate. If you got serious beef with some of my opinions here, but overall, what do you guys think? Depending on how good this one does, I may do one for ground, but hopefully you have a good 2025, and hopefully you get the best out of War Thunder, and I'll see you in the next video.